With more and more people jumping into PC gaming every day and jumping into the wagon of custom mechanical keyboards, there is still a vast majority of people that still buy pre-made keyboards, and there's nothing wrong with that. These are solid keyboards. I personally prefer custom keyboards, but today we have one of those pre-built ones, and this one in particular is from Varmilo. Now, particularly, I'm very interested in testing out this keyboard because it has their EC2 Sakura switches. And I'm very curious to compare them to the other switches that I currently own and see what they sound like and what they feel like. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. If you're new around here, we unbox and review random stuff you didn't know you needed. And if you're ready, let's go. Alright, so inside the box we had the keyboard and we had these extra leftover keycaps, and inside here there was this box, and this here is what seems to be the Varmilo switches, which are the ones down here, and maybe to do a comparison with the Cherry MX switches. So the Sakura, which I believe is this one, I'm not sure if it's this one, we'll look into that. And they compare each one of them to the Cherry MXs. And then you have an extra Varmilo keycap in there as well. And here we have a cable. We also have a keycap puller. And we have a small Varmilo brochure. Alright, and let's take a look really quick at the cable to see what we have here. And we have a USB-A to a USB mini. I'm not sure why we're still doing that, but okay. And they both seem to be gold color. And then the keycap puller, which is nothing from the other world. It feels a little bit comfortable, but just a normal keycap puller. And the keyboard, we have a dust cover here, which let's remove it. Wow, this looks really nice. Well, this is a full-size keyboard. Indeed, I believe this is the Summit 108. It's 110% keyboard. And just by looking at it and holding it, it feels like a very solid keyboard. And I haven't even played around with it. And let's look at the texture right there. It looks like a wood grain kind of texture. And I think it looks very cool, and it gives it kind of a personality to the keyboard. So that's very nice. And I believe this one is called the Summit because of the keycap set that it has. Let's take a look more around the keyboard. So you have your mini USB cable on the right side of the keyboard, and then you can see the wood grain texture is all around the keyboard. It feels very sturdy. There's no flexiness to it. And let's take a look here at the back. So there you have a serial number, you have your model number, which is the MA108, and here you have a Summit also in the back. I'm not sure, I thought it was a sticker, but it is not. It is actually embedded in there. And here you also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rubber feet in case you're not planning to use these two, which will make it 7 to lift it up. I like the contrast of the red rubber feet. I think that is very cool. So I don't think this keyboard is going to move anywhere once it is set in place. Very nice. No movement at all. So let's remove a few keycaps and let's take a look at the switches in there. These are definitely the Sakura EC2 switches. Now, if you're not familiar with this switch in particular, it is a linear switch, and it is what Varmilo calls a capacitance trigger. So it's some sort of electro switch that does not have physical contact like the Cherry MX switches do in order to actuate. So I will show you the pictures of what the Cherry MX switch looks like, and you can clearly see that there is a little bump, although you may not feel it, or you do feel it depending on the switch. It needs physical contact in order to actuate, and it needs to go through that bump. Whereas for these EC2 switches, they kind of go through each other, they glide, and there's some sort of electrostatic shock there that makes it actuate. So it does not need the physical contact or the bump. And according to them, this will make it more durable and whatnot, and maybe actuate even faster, even though these are all the same actuation speeds, I believe. And as far as durability for switches, I've never had switches go bad on me, but I am excited that there is a new technology out there. Even though it may not be a big difference, it is still something different to have. And keep in mind that you cannot buy these switches individually outside of a Varmilo keyboard directly from Varmilo or anywhere else as far as I'm concerned. And I want to go ahead and give this keyboard a sound test, and then I will be comparing it to my Lubed Alpaca's TX keyboard. Alright, and remember everyone, I'm not a fast typer of any kind. So that was it. Now I gotta say it is buttery smooth. Like, these things are very, very smooth. So now let's compare to my Lubed Alpaca switches and let's see how they sound in comparison. And I think I have to say that my Alpacas sound quieter, and these are both linear switches. So let's compare how they both sound right now. So let's just give them random keys for now. Alright, now when comparing to my Alpaca's lubed switches, is definitely a little bit louder. But I do have to say these switches are butter smooth. And even though it is a little bit louder than my Alpaca switches, you don't get that metal tinginess that you usually get with other keyboards. So after going over the switches, I have to say I do love how they feel. I like how this keyboard feels in general. It feels solid. It does not feel cheap. It feels like you have a quality product in your hands, even though this is a pre-made keyboard that you can just buy. Now, I don't believe that Varmilo is selling this keyboard with the EC switches on yet. I believe this one was just sent to me for me to test out, and maybe other YouTubers, but I'm not sure that they have it in the store as of now. So with that being said, I do have to say this keyboard looks beautiful. This keycap set also does look beautiful, and I want to look at it really quick. And while this keycap does look like some sort of just PBT keycap, it does seem like a good quality PBT keycap. It is quite thick, it's not cheap and flimsy. And in the front, they do have some sort of texture there, so it feels kind of grippy. Whenever you put your finger on it, it doesn't seem like it will be one of those slippery, cheap PBT keycaps. And with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let's wrap it up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed that video. Now, I do have to say that while I do love and enjoy my custom keyboards more than anything, if I had to choose between, let's say, this and a Corsair keyboard or a Razer keyboard, I will definitely take this over those keyboards. It feels solid. The plastic on it just feels very sturdy. There's no flex, and they actually take time to come up with this cool keycaps and also a different type of switch. So for a value of around $150, you're actually getting a lot out of this keyboard. And also, let's not forget that this keyboard does include LEDs, and they look very nice, which you can simply just turn on by holding FN and the arrow keys. Now, I believe these LEDs are only white, if I'm not mistaken, and they are not an RGB keyboard. So to finally round this video up, who is this keyboard for? This keyboard is for someone who wants to spend maybe $150 on a keyboard and wants to get a product of quality and does not want to break the bank. Now, while there are many other options that you can get, and if you don't like full-size keyboards, which now apparently it's not a thing, I do love using full-size keyboards personally for work and whenever I'm working on any projects, because I do love using the numpad. Now, if the full-size keyboard is not your thing, also feel free to check out other Varmilo products, because they do have anything from 60% TKL and many other options, and you can also get numpads separately from them. So before you consider jumping into maybe a Corsair or a Razer keyboard and whatnot, which is the norm and the holy grail of RGB lights, consider getting yourself something like this that's nice, simple, solid, and won't break the bank. And in addition, it does come with its own technology for the switch, which is not a big deal, but it does sound a little bit quieter than your normal Cherry MX switches. So I really hope you all enjoyed this video and that it helped you make a decision in terms of which keyboard maybe to buy in the future. And if you enjoy this kind of content, feel free to hit that like and subscribe button. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. It means the world to me. And remember everyone, be kind to one another.